All right, perfect. Well, welcome to our first C10 event. This idea kind of came from the work that I've been doing within the Career and Leadership Development Center. My name is Tamika Williams, and I serve as the Assistant Director for Diversity and Inclusion. So my job, this event pretty much is my job. I'm charged with helping our D&I students find places for employment that accept them for their social identities. So more than just your major, realizing that every student is not looking for a job that is particularly fitting their major or their interests, but more so they're able to bring their whole selves and their identities to work every day, feel comfortable. They can go up the ladder and see promotions and have somebody that's going to mentor them, be there in their corner, make friends, and just feel comfortable. That's the whole cool part about college. You come to college, you spend 4 years here, you build friendships, you have resources, you feel connected, and then you go out into what we call the quote unquote real world. And sometimes it can be harder to find those things. So the whole idea behind this event is to let you know which employers are here for you outside of just because you have this major. So who are going to accept you for your full authentic self and allow you to bring your full self to work. So this is 1 out of 3. We will be doing one each month. Next month, we will have one in the month of October. So right before Halloween, we will have another C10 event, and then we'll have another one in November. If these go really well, you all can look forward to them in the spring. But for right now, we're going to try these out, and hopefully you all glean from them. Tell a friend. Or tell a friend to watch the recording. And if you have any questions, you can always schedule an appointment with a career coach in the CLDC so we can follow up on some of the information you gathered today so we can help you in your journey for internships or employment after graduation. All right, so we are going to start off with Bridget Dickerson. Bridget she works for Insight Global. She's going to let you know everything about that company. She is the talent acquisition specialist, and she is an Ohio alumnus. So it's very exciting to always have our alumni back. Unfortunately, not physically on campus. I know that would have been a great experience for her, and she really would have enjoyed physically being on campus. But you will hear Bridget's voice for about 10 to 15 minutes. She is going to give you all the information and really give you the inside scoop to her company and what they have to offer. So please take notes, and then we will offer an opportunity for questions and answer. So if you have questions that pop up while she's speaking, please write those down because we want to make sure that you get all of your questions answered tonight. So with that, I will stop presenting my screen and allow Bridget to take over and speak with you all today.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Tamika. I'm so glad to be here. I'm going to share my screen right now. If I do it correctly, I am learning so much through all of this right now. So yes, my name is Bridget Dickerson. I am up here in our Cleveland, Ohio office, but I did graduate from OU 7 years ago, which is crazy. And you're so right, Tamika. I wish I was down there rather than obviously remote. I love visiting, especially in the fall. So I'm trying to present here. It's for some reason saying that it's not letting me. 1 second here really quick. But I wanted to go over, Tamika and I have had a couple different conversations here in the past, just how do we get more involved on campus in different ways. So I'm really excited to kind of go over, obviously an overview of what we do and everything, but also, and more importantly, telling you guys a little bit about our Diversity Council and then our Women's Leadership Council as well. As long as I can get my presentation up here. Speaker, for some reason, it's not letting me. It's saying that I can't display.
Does it say ask Tamika for permission? Does it have a prompt like that, like ask for control permission?
Oh, yes, it does.
Click that and it should send.
If not, I mean, I guess I should have sent you this beforehand.
We can still do it. We can still do it. You can still try to email it really quickly.
I'll send it to you really quick. So I'll kind of just give you guys a spiel about Insight Global just in general for starters. So we are an IT staffing company. I know when I was at OU and graduating, I didn't know anything about that or what the staffing industry means. So essentially how I explain it, every large corporation in the whole country will utilize staffing firms in one way or another at some point, right? It could be that they want to hire 30 customer service reps, or maybe they need a web developer or whatever it is, they're going to outsource that to a staffing firm. So we're really that point of contact for them. And so really what we target when it comes to hiring students, obviously on campus and everything, we hire all majors. So again, that's why we like to talk to anyone in any major, any groups on campus. When I was at OU, I was an English major, so I took the route of getting into the corporate world and everything like that. So I think for some reason it's not letting me send it to you. So I might just have to, you guys might just have to see my face here, and I'll go through everything that I was going to regardless. So we have 58 offices nationwide. Again, we hire people right out of school. We also have an 8-week internship program. Ideally, we have people intern the summer before they graduate, but we're looking for people who want to have a career in sales or account management. So I explain our sales is different than most sales. It's not your typical door-to-door or selling a product or anything. It's selling our recruiting service. It's selling a relationship, essentially, with Insight Global. We start everyone out as a recruiter. You're a recruiter for 10 months, and then you get promoted into that next step, which is our account management. Again, we have 58 offices nationwide. I started in Columbus, then moved up here to Cleveland recently. So we're really everywhere, which I think is ideal for people graduating, wanting to relocate and move. So how oh, of course, here, my dog here. I was one of those people who got a dog during COVID, so she's still a puppy. But so I wanted to really touch and use most of my time talking about our diversity council and our women's leadership council. I know that when I was talking to Tamika, for me as the point of contact for a lot of the universities in Ohio, I want to learn how can we get more involved on campus, right? So we're really trying to figure that out. The other key piece was for us in the last couple of years to really promote that diversity within our company. So first we developed our Women's Leadership Council. So that highlights 100 women. I'm actually a part of it myself. We really put it in place because we were finding that women do very well here. A lot of our upper management are women. So we really wanted to run with that and allow a lot of these women to have voices. So this week is actually Women's Week. So if you look at our Instagram or our social media in any way, we're constantly celebrating and highlighting specific women, which is pretty exciting. So when it comes to our diversity council, so I've been working really closely with one of my close friends who helped start the diversity council. She sits down in our Cincinnati office and she's amazing. So I kind of have the in, and she gives me all the information, some of the new initiatives that they're looking to obviously promote in the next year. So how I kind of look at it is their mission statement really is, so the mission of the Diversity Council is to champion diversity and inclusion to create environments where people can bring their full authentic selves to work every day. So how can we ask employees to give themselves to a company if they can't be their whole true self? So we really value diverse backgrounds and that being brought into our company. So, where we kind of see the corporate world be very black and white when it comes to views and whatnot, we're very inclusive when it comes to that. Whether you've been here 2 months or 7 years like me, no matter your background or what university you went to or where you're from, or how you identify yourself, it's really, we want to obviously promote you to have a voice in whatever way. So it's really allowed us to not only grow as a company, but as individuals working with each other day by day. So again, we want to continue to focus on hiring people with diverse backgrounds that can only make our company stronger, and each as employees stronger as well. So some things that we've developed here, and Tamika, I think I mentioned this to you when we first spoke, and now we've actually put it into action. So we currently have 5 employee network resource groups that are created and ran by our employees. So these groups support the LGBTQ+, Jewish, Black, South Asian, Middle Eastern, and Hispanic employees. So they have hosted their happy hours. They have open communication forums and study halls where we built a safe place for all of those employees to kind of chat amongst themselves and really get each other included in others as well. So really how we look at this, and a key piece that would have been in my presentation and my PowerPoint, we have 5 shared values for our company. So our shared values are really important to us, that high character and hard work above all else. Leadership is here to serve, things like that. But how we look at when we're bringing new employees on, whether, again, you're an intern or a full-time employee after graduation, we really promise people that we're going to take care of you and grow you professionally, personally, and financially. So one of our shared values is that everyone matters. So that is a huge shared value for us. And it is really true. I've been here 7 years, and I know that I have a different background from a lot of the friends that I started with or have made throughout the company. So really, I feel like that's been a key piece and allowed us to really play off of our councils, the Diversity Council and the Women's Leadership Council. So for us, again, we're, as our talent acquisition team, there's about 40 of us in the company working with, hundreds of universities across the country. So we've now really made it a focus to speak on things like this and get in front of chapters and get in campus and make more of a focus talking. And that's why I was so excited to develop a relationship with Tamika. I learned from her, and I hope that we can obviously continue to give as much information as we can and resources that our company provides for obviously our new employees. So I don't know what time limit I'm at, Tamika, but that was kind of my spiel for you guys without my PowerPoint. So I apologize for that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's perfectly okay. And if you want, we can share that a little bit later. I can send it to those who are in attendance tonight, if that would be helpful.
Yeah, I'll send it. For some reason, I think I'm having something like with the file being open and it's not letting me send it. So I apologize.
That is perfectly okay. My internet completely went out yesterday, and I had to
technology.
Yep. Totally use the hotspot for like the first 4 hours of work, so it's fine.
That's
Well, perfect. So we are going to go ahead and move forward, and then I'm going to be managing the PowerPoint on this end. So give me a second. If you have questions for Bridget that might have came up, potential positions that they're hiring for, majors that maybe they hire for, be sure to go ahead and write those questions down. So when we do open the floor up, she can address those for you all. So bear with me, as technology is definitely being my best friend currently. All right. So I might share my screen in this case, just because for some reason it's not letting me. I guess it might be pretty big to try to upload in the actual all right, no worries, no fret. All right, everybody. So now we have Allie from PNC Financial Services. So everybody should know what PNC is. Hopefully you all can see my screen. Allie, I will click for you. So Allie's going to come on. She's going to speak, and she's going to let you know all the opportunities and get you some insight to PNC Financial. I actually had a PNC account not too long ago, and then I closed it. But they're a really great bank, so I can only imagine working for them is a really great experience too. So, Allie, if you wouldn't mind, you can feel free to begin.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Tamika. So, everyone, as Tamika said, my name is Allie Gardner. And Tamika, I don't know if anyone else is seeing this, but I don't see the deck or the PowerPoint.
That's totally okay. That's
I was gonna say I don't mind. Again, I can talk.
Adaptability at its finest. It could just be me. You would think because I'm not in Athens, everything would be working better. That's not the case. I just saw something. Presentation ended.
Does it let me share mine?
You can by all means try. Hold on, I might have to, sorry you all.
Well, in the meantime, while we're working on that, I can speak a little bit about kind of what I do, and then we can dive into, what PNC has for some opportunities. So, my job is this, right? To come to campus normally in person, but unfortunately now we're doing it virtual. So I come to campus, I talk a little bit about the opportunities that we have on campus. So we have development programs and internship opportunities at PNC. So our development programs are either a year to 3 years, depending on the line of business, and they are rotational development programs. So what that means is their sole purpose is to really help you develop and grow and gain that professional experience that you may not have right out of college. And then our internships are basically a mini version of that that happen for 10 weeks over the summer. And if you do have concerns, this summer, will there be an internship? Will there not be with the pandemic and everything else that's going on in the world? I can assure you that this past summer we did pull off an entirely virtual internship, and I like to think that it was pretty successful. So have faith that we will continue with an internship regardless of kind of what is happening in the world. But with that, we'll kind of move on. And I don't know, nobody can still see my screen, correct? Can we have that says?
Yeah, I think you're good.
Oh, good. Perfect. So we can see it. Awesome. So this is PNC's footprint. So what that basically means is this is anything that's colored on this map is where PNC is located. So anything in blue is going to be, or let me start, anything in orange is going to be what you think of when you see a PNC branch, right? So when we walk in to, deposit a check, you're in a PNC branch. So as you can see, it's mostly on the East Coast, getting into the Midwest. But then you'll also see our C&IB offices. So what does that mean? Those are giant corporation companies. So PNC is really across the nation when it comes to opportunities within our corporate banking realm. And we're even in the Shanghai office, as well as the UK, Germany, and even some parts of Canada. So as you can see, we're continuing to grow. But that's a little bit about kind of where we are within the country. So why PNC? Why is PNC, one, a good place to work? But also, why should you choose it? So we have, a really strong foundation in our culture. Something that Bill Demchak, who is CEO, really ensures is that all of our employees are, one, taken care of, but also we have a really good quality of life. So as you can see, here are our core values. They include customer focus, diversity and inclusion, integrity, performance, quality of life, respect, and teamwork. Now, I am going to take a second and focus on that diversity inclusion space, right? So that is at the forefront of everything that's happening at PNC right now. Now, what I want to say too is that this has always been on the forefront, right? So diversity and inclusion has been a core value since, the beginning of PNC. But I think right now, as all of the world is talking about it, PNC is also talking about it. And wanting to share that we're more than a bank, right? So we're committed to the environment. We are a leader in green building and energy use reduction. So really quickly, by a show in the chat, has anyone seen the tower in downtown Pittsburgh, or have they heard of it? Do they know anything about it, or am I just talking about an unknown item? I think you can raise your hand too. Nobody? Bridget says she has. So the PNC tower is what we call LEED certified, which basically means that it is extremely energy efficient. To give you an example, the building breathes. So that's something that PNC takes very seriously. One, it helps, show that we are committed to not only our customers, right, but also the environment. We're also looking to strengthen our communities. So We have lots of charitable givings, sponsorships, community development banking, and our Grow Up Great program, as well as a talent-focused culture. So leadership standards, making sure that our leaders are doing the right thing and that they're trained to do so. Diversity and inclusion leader, competitive benefits, making sure we're just taking care of all of our employees. Again, just a piece about Grow Up Great. So it is a $500 million multi-year bilingual initiative that began in 2004 to help prepare children from birth to age 5 for success in school and life. So up to this point, we have invested $13.65 million in Grow Up Great. It's something that PNC takes a lot of pride in, and it's to provide initiative opportunities to assist families, educators, and community partners to help advance early learning and development for young children. So we do a lot of work with preschool age children, as well as like elementary age children. We do things in the winter, like go out and buy like backpacks and fill them with school supplies. We also do like a little winter shopping session where actually the Pittsburgh Penguins take a bunch of kids from the Pittsburgh area to like Walmart and they go shopping with them. So it's a really fun thing too. And one of the better parts about PNC as well is you can get paid to do these activities. So if you want to volunteer your time, PNC will pay you 40 hours of volunteer time per year to do activities such as work with Grow Up Great and other volunteer initiatives. And then just some recognition. So in 2019, we were considered Employee of the Year by Disability In, where the best companies for women to work in, best places for work for the LGBTQ equality, we're veteran friendly, 50 most engaged workplaces, 50 happiest companies in America, and 100 most sustainable companies. So as you can see, we have the recognition to back up our values that we support. And I know that, you know, articles can say a little bit, but my personal testimony as well is I love the company I work for. I think that, you know, there is such a strong focus on the employee, and then it just projects out to the customer experience as well. And then this is a quote from Bill Demchak, so feel free to read it. But again, just reiterating, you know, the care about communities and customers, employees, and shareholders. And you'll often hear us call PNC a Main Street bank. So what does that mean? There's this idea of Wall Street, right? And that it's very competitive. It's kind of crazy. The hours that you're working and you know, the way that customers are handled is all over the place. So we really take that Main Street approach, right? So we're connecting with our employees, but we're also connecting with our customers on both sides, and just seeing what makes the most sense for all parties. This is just a couple ways to get involved at PNC with different diversity and inclusion groups. So we have what are called EBRGs, also known as Employee Business Resource Groups. So we have African American, Asian American, iGen, which is actually putting together folks who've just started at the bank or a little bit younger to folks who've been at the bank for 25 years and having that collaboration together. There's a Latino group, military, multicultural, PNC Proud, emerging professionals, which is young professionals who are just getting into the workplace, as well as Women Connect. So those are kind of, you know, again, some more groups that you can get involved in once you start at PNC. And now on to the internships and development programs. So like I had said, here is a snapshot of all of the programs that we have to offer. You'll notice internal audit is highlighted. We actually have a posting on your Handshake site. So if you want to apply directly through Handshake for the internal audit internship, you are more than welcome to do so. And then this is just going over some summer internship highlights. So we do a 2-day summer summit where you can meet every single intern that has come to PNC. So that's over 600 individuals. So that is just a great time to meet people, to get to know people, build relationships. We also offer a mentorship program. So interns will be provided a peer mentor who's already been in their shoes to, you know, do the little things like figure out how to work your email or what does the word ping mean. And that's simply just a Skype message, a different jargon like that. informal networking and social events, and then some basic training opportunities as well. So what could your next steps be if you would like to start pursuing PNC? Well, apply, right? So right now is the time to build your resume, make sure it's up to date, and apply. I put the link in here. I can also put it in the chat. And then also check out your school's career site as well. We'll also be coming to the Diversity Career Fair happening in October. And I think we're doing one other event on campus as well virtually on campus, I guess. And then September and October, that's when we begin sending out our first round of interviews. And then our final round of interviews happen late September, early October, also known as Super Day. And that's just basically a final round of interviews. But with that, again, here's where to apply. And then if you have any questions at all, feel free to email our campus mailbox. And then I'm also going to throw my personal email too, so you have that. But that is all I had, Tamika. So
perfect. Thank you all. Thank you for adaptability. I think more and more I'm seeing adaptability has to be your top skill because things happen that are out of your control. So if anybody that is, I guess, in our audience, if you have questions for either Allie or Bridget pertaining to their specific companies or just about the workforce in general, feel free. You can use the chat option and I can read them for you if you're shy. Or if you want to take initiative and introduce yourself, put a name with a face and ask a question, feel free to do that.
Hi, I have a question. Kamal Ruumi, I'm a second-year finance major here at Ohio University. And my question is kind of just to either for Insight Global or PNC. Through your experience, what would you say is the most important skill or tool for like incoming workers in the financial services?
I can answer that. This is Bridget. Our roles aren't specifically financial, right? But what I tell everyone when you graduate or whether it's for internship or that first job out of school, I always say the number one skill set to really focus on is coachability. Not necessarily do we all get degrees and what our professions after graduation are going to be. So we always tell our people specifically to be coachable and be able to implement feedback. So I would say that's one of the number one key pieces for us specifically.
Yeah, and I would agree with Bridget. I think the ability to be coachable and, take advice is really important. Something that and it's funny, Tamika said adaptability. There has never been a time more than now to be adaptable, right? So one, take on challenges that you're faced with, but just kind of, adapting to whatever you're given as well is really important, and just taking ownership of things, right? So that's going to make you stand out maybe compared to someone who's kind of, just taking what they're given. If you show up and you're ready to, take on the day, I think that goes a really long way.
Thank you.
Perfect. Marcus typed a question in the chat. He says, I guess it's for either one of you. Have you seen any attrition with COVID in regards to employment?
Specifically for us, we haven't. Our number one goal was to take care of our people. We didn't want to, obviously get rid of anyone or necessarily have anyone leave. In fact, we brought on 600 people virtually this summer, which was crazy in all of our 58 offices, but we learned a lot, how to get people. We've been doing all of our training virtually and things like that. So we haven't seen, we haven't seen large numbers of attrition because we've been hosting talks and chats and developed an internship, a mentorship program for, newer people who started with this summer who have never been in an office, and that's our culture is our number one selling piece, I think, for recent grads, and they haven't gotten to experience that. So we've gone above and beyond to really make, I guess, the virtual experience as normal as possible through COVID.
Yep, and I would probably be aligned with that too. So PNC actually came out pretty much right away and said, everyone's working from home, but we're going to do everything that we can to, keep all of our employees on staff. So we did things like, so for example, our retail branches, they were I can't think of the word, but essential employees. So they couldn't, go and work from home. That's something that they had to be in the office for. So we did 2-week rotations to make sure employees were healthy, but we paid them for the 2 weeks that they had off. So, we definitely, wanted to keep our employees. We wanted to keep everyone happy. And I think that we did a pretty successful job of doing that as well. Any other questions?
Yeah, this is one time you get the inside scoop. Jody said, any advice for navigating all of the virtual career fairs that are going on? And I think we also have something for that. Bridget will be back on October 5th to do how to crush a virtual career fair. So we're doing that the Monday before the Diversity First Fair, which is on October 7th. So, but if you have any other formal advice, feel free to answer that question for Jody.
Yeah, we as a team, our talent acquisition team through COVID had a little bit of downtime because we weren't hiring. We put a pause on hiring throughout the summer just again so we could onboard all of our people. So we had a lot of time where we really got ingrained in we were testing Zoom links, WebExes, Microsoft Teams. So we put together an awesome presentation for that. For me, it's always number one, test your technology. That's like number one. Number two, this is something that I don't think people are noticing, but don't wear your AirPods that, hook to your MacBooks. They don't connect, they're cracky, so just make sure you get that prepared ahead of time. Obviously, I know that I recruit a lot from LinkedIn, so I think, and I message people typically on LinkedIn before the career fair, so make your LinkedIn super flashy, write what you're interested in, what year you are, what locations you want to be in, and things like that. Then obviously perfecting your resume. But again, I always say too, virtually, it's all about that first impression, so even as if you were interviewing in person or coming up to someone at the career fair, it's all about that first impression, and the small talk is even more important via, a video chat rather than in person, because you can't. I'm a huge talker with my hands, and I really can't do that, obviously. So, you can't use your body language. So you have to be able to connect right away, right when that video turns on.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing you can do is show up, right? So you're not going to make an impression if you're not there. So I think just going to these events and making yourself known, and we recognize that, right? So when we see the same name or the same face or same video, right, over and over again, we're going to remember you when you come through our requisitions to potentially hire you as a candidate. I think that it's difficult for everyone, right? So this is our first time doing this all virtually as much as it is your first time. So yeah, getting familiar with everything, but just showing up and being your best self, being prepared. There's nothing worse than a laptop that's going like this the whole time that you're on the video. So just find a good quiet place to be prepared and focus on, the screen in front of you, as I would say.
There was another chat question. So what is the makeup of a successful candidate or new hire with your organization? And then what are some pitfalls that you have seen new hires make?
I know for us, I think no matter what role you're in, whether your degree is exactly what your job is or not, I always say, working 40 hours a week is crazy. Like, you are going to be tired all the time, that transition, things like that. So I think the makeup really are two things, and I tell everyone this. Number one, that you are staying positive through it all, that you are constantly asking questions and being enthusiastic. And number two, working your butt off, right? Like, for lack of better words. And those, you can't ever have your first year in your career, right? I know that you don't want to look back and think, oh, I could have worked a little bit harder, maybe got that promotion a little bit sooner, things like that. And I think the pitfall is, kind of getting in your head and thinking, I can't do this, or this is hard, or I'm not meant for this role, right? You were hired for a reason for whatever job you do pursue. So really lean on the people around you to as resources on how to get better. Just don't get in your head, I guess. And that, I guess, would be a pitfall.
Yeah, so I think there's a couple things, there's all the same five I always say, and they're actually pretty aligned with our values. So teamwork is huge, being able to work with others. I think acknowledging your own strengths and weaknesses goes a long way too. And I would say that just taking that initiative, I know I had already mentioned that, but I think a pitfall that I commonly see is whenever maybe you're a more quiet person, but we're noticing in that virtual environment, if you don't speak up, we don't hear from you at all. So I would say, completely understand that maybe you're not the person that comes to a meeting and just, starts talking, right? But I think if you can find that one thing that's going to bring value to whoever you're talking to, bring that up in the meeting, make yourself known. I think because otherwise you're just not going to be heard from. And unfortunately, in this virtual environment, it's kind of seen as not participating and not being engaged. So engage in every opportunity you have, reach out to people and build that network. And I think that's what makes candidates really successful.
Perfect. Any other questions? Anybody? There's no more in the chat, but if anybody wants to come off and ask a question, maybe something that wasn't covered or something you were always dying to know, or maybe even asking them what did they think when they were in your position, because I think we all have like that that story of graduating college and having to figure it out. So that one is always fun.
Mika, I might have to answer that even though you didn't ask.
Oh, Kamal, were you about to say something? I saw your bubble light up.
Yeah, I have one question regarding PNC. So this whole week I've been kind of looking at internships and been applying. And you said, I saw that on Handshake you only had internal audit. So does that mean, do you have other internships available on your website, or is it just that one internship available this summer?
Great question. So we have you can apply to any internship. So that link I put in the chat is to our PNC Direct site. So you're more than welcome to apply to any internship opportunity you see on our website. The reason that internal audit is at Ohio University is because we have a Cleveland spot in the internal audit program. So it makes the most sense because that school's near this market and, all of that goes into play. But so you can, and the advantage if you were interested in an internal audit position is that your interview would be like a Skype interview. Otherwise, you would just complete a video interview. Again, it's just to get that personal touch. But again, the only reason being is because it's near the market location.
Okay, thank you. And one more question with your internships. Is it a 10-week program or not? I was kind of confused with the how the internship goes or not, but I was just wondering if it's 10 weeks or just the student meeting and then just a mentorship.
No, so it is a 10-week long internship over the summer, and it's basically a full-time job for that summer. So every internship will begin, I think the start date this year is May 27th, and it ends usually end of August. But you are expected to work like a 40-hour work work week, 9 to 5, depending on how your business does their hours. But you'll be assigned just a mentor that will kind of walk you through that day to day. You'll also get a day-to-day manager who, you're going to go to and is going to assign you work. But a lot of those like projects that you'll work on are because you're only there for 10 weeks. So maybe there's something that the business didn't get to this year, or there's amount of research that they really want done. They just don't have the capacity to do it. They might say, here, Kamal, as our intern, please, take a look at all this data and, find us a solution. So you will not be going and getting coffee or just doing, random tasks. You're going to be doing meaningful work in all of our internship opportunities. Does that help explain it a little better?
Yep, that helps a lot. Thank you.
Okay, no problem.
And I think that Kamal's question brought up a great point. There's a plethora of search engines that you can use to find jobs, right? We really push Handshake because you're going up against other college students. There's LinkedIn, but I think the treasure that most people forget is going to the company's website. I always tell people it's free to advertise on your own website. And a lot of times when you want to use those things outside of your company, you have to pay. So sometimes companies will take the affordability route and just only post to their website, which could hinder their selection pool, but also don't forget the gem of just going to their website and going to careers and jobs, because even internships live up there too. Any final questions as we kind of wind down? I really appreciate the communication, the questions, and the engagement that's been going on tonight. But any final questions for either one of them as we wind down for the evening? All right, so seeing none, hearing none. Please keep in contact with these two individuals. Now that you have a face, they will be at some of our other events. I'm going to attempt one more time to put up my last slide. We'll see if it works for me. But if you enjoyed this event, if you thought it was helpful, please look forward to the one that's going to be in September. I hope that this was something that maybe you got more than what you expected. Maybe you just jumped on because you like me or you know me, or maybe you just had some free time this evening. But we do have other events coming up. Every Friday, you can find me on Zoom for what I call the D&I drop-in corner. If any student was around last year and you saw me in the MCC on the second floor, or the LGBT Center, or the Women's Center, that's a drop-in. So we do drop-in appointments in my office where literally you can come talk to me for 10 minutes and we could try to solve life's problems. Not really, but we can kind of help get you going in the right direction. So if you just have a quick question, but you don't have a lot of time, jump on Zoom. The link is on our website, so you can engage in that. I'm doing it on pretty much every Friday, but there's some select Fridays, but they're on Handshake, and then they are also on the CLDC's website. And then, like I mentioned, Bridget will be back on October 5th virtually to facilitate How to Crush a Virtual Career Fair. So that's going to be from 5 to 6. So jump back on. That link, once again, is on Handshake. Jump back on there again in prep work for the actual Diversity First Career Fair. So if you remember the Diversity First luncheon that happened last spring, that was really great. We decided to keep that initiative going and keep building on this idea of putting our diverse Bobcats first. So now we have a career fair where you will see companies like Insight Global and PNC and some of my other friends there to assist you. So the actual career fair is going to be on October 7th, okay, from 1 to 4. In order to attend all career fairs, you must register. So go to Handshake, look up fairs on campus, and you have to click the registration button. The reason you have to register is because for the virtual experience, you will either be participating in 30-minute group meetings, kind of like what we did today, or individual one-on-one meetings with an employer. you have to almost create a schedule for yourself for that 1 to 4 period. You can go to as many meetings, group or individual meetings as you want, but you have to prepare that. So you will need to register. That way you have time to build your schedule and you can see who all is going to be in attendance. So you can use strategy with trying to get to as many individual or group meetings as possible. If you have absolute trouble, schedule a career coaching appointment, drop in virtually, and we will help you get that set up. It's new for all of us. There's going to be mistakes, and we're totally aware of that. And then we have our next C10 event, as I mentioned, on October 14th from 4 to 5. This one is pretty special. We're going to feature Teach for America, Peace Corps, and City Year. Believe it or not, for my individuals who don't quite yet know what they want to do with the rest of their lives, these are really great 2-year programs that allow you to serve and get some benefits and sometimes relocate, which is also really cool. So feel free to tune into that. All these events are regardless of major. It's all about gaining knowledge. Knowledge is power. So the more knowledge you gain, the more powerful you are and the more informed decisions you can make as an adult. So that's all I'm here to do, is to make sure that you all feel empowered and encouraged as young adults and you have the information that you need. So as you go forth in the world, you know what's going on, because I mean, you're going to make mistakes. That's just how life is. But at least you have a wealth of knowledge so you can make those decisions. So I hope this was great. If a friend missed it, tell them too bad, so sad. Not really. We're going to put this recording up for you all. And if somebody said something, you need to dial back and see, oh, what was that Ali said? We'll have this for your availability. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for your questions. And I look forward to the next C10 event that we have. So you all have a wonderful night and eat some good food. Thank you, Ali. And thank you, Bridget. If we were in person and if it was safe, I would totally hug you. But I'll give you a virtual adapts. And I really appreciate you all for helping us. So virtual claps for you all. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Tamika. We enjoyed being on.
Thanks, Tamika. Appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. Good night, everybody.